When my husband Ben started pacing nonstop one afternoon, I admit my first instinct was to try to stop him. I stood in the hallway saying, Ben, come sit down. You're wearing yourself out. But instead of calming down, he looked more agitated. His eyes were darting around, his hands were twitching, and he wouldn't or couldn't sit down, and he couldn't explain what was wrong. And that's when I had to remind myself of the lesson that I've learned again and again in dementia care. Don't just react, Diane. Investigate. So, hi, I'm Dementia Coach Diane, caregiver, coach, and your friendly guide through the confusing world of dementia care. And today I want to talk with you about an approach that completely changed the way that I approach some of the most frustrating and confusing moments with my husband, Ben, who's living at home with Lewy Body dementia. It's called the DICE approach, and it was developed by Dr. Helen Kales and her team to help caregivers like us respond with curiosity and creativity to challenging behaviors instead of criticism. Now, in dementia care, behavior is communication. Our loved ones may not have the words to say, I'm cold, I need to go to the bathroom, that noise is scaring me, or just like I'm anxious and I don't know why. So their needs come out as behaviors like pacing, yelling, refusing food, agitation, withdrawing, or what I call mystery meltdowns. And, these moments can be incredibly stressful, especially when we're tired and stretched thin and often feeling pretty helpless, right? So I know that I've been tempted to try to stop the behavior as fast as possible or rely on medications to calm our loved ones down. And there's nothing wrong with using medication. I mean, in some cases, it's necessary and appropriate to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. But if we can slow down and play detective, we'll often find that the behavior is not the real problem. It's covering over something deeper. So I'd like to introduce you to the DICE approach, and I'll break it down. The D stands for describe. You want to describe the behavior. What exactly is happening? What is our loved one saying or doing or not saying or doing? When did it start? Is it new or familiar? And you want to get as detailed as possible for your own sake. For instance, Ben is pacing around the living room, to the kitchen, to the den, fidgeting with his hands, not making eye contact, and he's picking up speed with each rotation. I've never seen this behavior before, and it's scaring me. So that's my behavior, not his. But now, the I stands for investigate. You want to investigate possible causes, and this is where the detective work really kicks in. So you want to think, first of all, physical needs. Are they hungry, constipated, in pain perhaps, or overtired? Is there an environmental trigger? Is it too noisy, too hot? Is the lighting harsh? They might be in distress because of an emotional or memory trigger. You want to ask yourself, like, did something trigger some past trauma or confusion? And then even routine changes, did something shift today that threw them off? So that's the I. Then the C is all about creating a plan. Once you have a few clues, you want to try an intervention. Maybe it's soft music, dimming the lights, or offering a snack. Maybe even just a bathroom visit is needed, or just sitting next to them, with quiet reassurance. And then E, you want to evaluate the results. Did your ideas help? Did the pacing slow down? Did their expressions soften? Or do you need to try something else? And here's the key, of course, this is not a one and done process. As you probably well know, if you've been caring for your loved one for more than half a day, it takes experimentation. And, sometimes it's not about fixing what's going on. It's about creating comfort and connection. And listen, I know how hard it is, when you're dealing with these behaviors and you're already sleep deprived yourself and you've got pressure from family members or healthcare professionals or even your own heart because you want to help when they're distressed. But the truth is you are. Just by slowing down a little bit, just by watching these videos and being willing to slow down and explore, you're already doing one of the hardest and bravest parts of dementia care, getting to the source of what's bothering your loved one, even though nobody is actually doing the same thing for you, right? So in the next few videos, I'm going to walk through you a real life example where I used the DICE approach to figure out what was going on with Ben. And it was pacing and agitation in this case, but you might have experienced something similar where, pacing and agitation was actually about constipation or a refusal to eat that was actually about the fact that they couldn't see well, or you had, a patterned plate that was confusing them. They could be resistant to bathing, but it was really about temperature, and overstimulation. So each behavior that we encounter does have what I call a backstory. And sometimes just a few small changes can make a huge difference. So if you've ever asked, what the heck on earth is going on? You're in the right place. You're not alone. And so stay tuned, please, for the next episode where we're going to dive into, again, my example of pacing and agitation and how I use the DICE approach to get to the root of it instead of just trying to shut it down. So please remember, you've got this. You're not alone. We're playing detective together. So if this was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel if you want to see more like this, and stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to take a look at how to put something that looks like a good model, but actually works.